Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I, Professor Ramesh Prasad, Dean Faculty of Sarman Vidya, Head Department of Pali and Theravada, Sampurnanand Sanskrit University, Varanasi, and General Secretary, Pali Society of India, welcome you in the second episode of the Buddha series. In this episode, we will have a brief discussion on the early life of Gautam Siddhartha and his journey from Gautam Siddhartha to Gautam Buddha. More than 2,500 years ago, there was a beautiful city named Kapilvastu. Nowadays, it is in the border of India and Nepal. This city is situated 127 kilometers east of Sravasti. A river named Rohini was flowing near this city. All the inhabitants of the city were very happy with the kind administration. The state's mechanism was in the hands of the people. We can say that there was republic or democracy in Kapilvastu. The people used to choose the most qualified person to be the king. The king was called Sakyavansiye Kshatriya, lion's descendant Kshatriya. At that time, the king of Kapilvastu was Sudodana. He had two wives. One's name was Mahamaya, the chief queen, and the second one was Prajapati. He had a son with Mahamaya, who enlightened the world after becoming the Buddha. In 563 BC, Mahamaya gave birth to a child on the day of Vaishak Purnima under a sal tree in the forest named Lumbini while going to her hometown Deoda. Soon after the birth of this child, many auspicious works were accomplished in the kingdom. So, the child was named Siddhartha. Siddhartha means wish fulfilled. As he was Gautam by the Gotra, so he was called Gautam Siddhartha. While Siddhartha was being named, 7 of 8 distinguished saints or astrologers predicted him with such characteristic marks that he would either become a universal monarch, that is, king of kings, or a Buddha. But the youngest Kondai convincingly declared that the Prince Siddhartha would definitely retire from the world and become a Buddha. In the midst of the birth celebration of Siddhartha, on the 7th day of his birth, his mother, the Queen Mahamaya, left this transitory world, the Sansar. The child was then looked after by his foster mother, Mahapajapati, Gotami, youngest sister of Mahamaya. One day, the king Sudodana called a saint named Asita in Kapilvastu to bless Siddhartha. The sage Asita was pleased to see the child and said, Rajan, O king, this child has been born in the form of a sannyasi, a sage. He will be victorious in every walk of life. He will show the path of truth. This child will become the Buddha and will change the era. Hearing this, the king got worried and commanded his ministers that no sign of a saint should come near the Prince Siddhartha. The king made a lot of efforts to attract Siddhartha to worldly pleasures. But the prince's mind was in solitude. He wasn't attracted to worldly glory. Since childhood, his life was full of love and compassion. There is an event of his childhood. Let us see. Siddhartha's cousin Devadatta shot a bird and injured it. The tormented bird fell near Siddhartha. The prince Siddhartha put the bird on his lap, and carefully pulled the arrow out of its body. Meanwhile, Devadatta arrived and said, I shot the bird, give it to me. Siddhartha refused to do so. Then Devadatta asked for justice in king's court. The proposal was set that the bird would be placed in the middle of the court. Both princes would take turns to call the bird. The bird would be given to the person towards whom the bird approached. Firstly, Devdutt tried to call to get the attention of the bird and get it to walk towards him. But the bird ignored him and didn't even look at him. Then after, Siddhartha's turn came, and as soon as he called the bird, it started walking slowly towards him and sat on the lap of his savior. Love and compassion won over violence. With the march of time, the king Suddhodana thought about marrying Siddhartha in order to attract him towards the worldly pleasures. And hence, Siddhartha was married to his beautiful cousin, Princess Yasodhara, at the age of 16. Yasodhara is also known as Bhadkachana, Bimba, and Rahul Mata. But Siddhartha's mind was not involved in worldly pleasures. Whenever he got any opportunity to sit in solitude, he would meditate and contemplate. He considered worldly enjoyments worthless before a spiritual contemplation. One day, when he was traveling with his charioteer, Channa, he saw an old man, a diseased person, and a corpse. This was a revolutionary turn for him. These three sights introduced him to sadness and caused him immense pain. His mind got distracted and obsessed to find a way to get rid of suffering and pain. In the end, he became happy after seeing a hermit. There was calm and peace on his face. These four sights developed the urge in him to renounce the world. While he was on the tour, he received the news of having a son. He was happy but also sad at the moment. He feared that this baby would pose as a hindrance in his path of emancipation. Suddenly, he exclaimed, Rahulo Jato, which means an impediment, Rahu, has been born. Another disturbance has been occurred. The infant son was accordingly named Rahul by his grandfather. But even his newborn son wasn't able to stop Siddhartha into becoming a sannyasi, a hermit. And ultimately, he left the house at midnight at the age of 29. This renunciation is called Mahavinishkarman in Buddhist glossary. After Mahavinishkarman, as a wanderer, he has started to search for a guru, a teacher, to achieve the unsurpassed peace. He approached Alar Kalam, a distinguished ascetic. Here, he practiced Akinchanyaitanam, realm of nothingness, which is the third stage of Arup Samadhi, and got it. But this didn't give him satisfaction. He didn't get what he was searching for. He desired for the Param Tattva, the ultimate truth. As a result, he took permission from his teacher Alar Kalam and left that place in search of a better teacher. With a great hope, he reached the ashram hermitage of Ramaput. There, Uddak Ramput tried to saturate Siddhartha with fourth stage of Arup Samadhi, Neo Sanyana Sanyayatanam, realm of neither perception nor non-perception. It is the last stage of meditation that he received from Uddakanamput. But he was still not satisfied. His ultimate goal was far ahead. He didn't get the incomparable peace. He didn't get the feeling of ultimate happiness. He was seeking for the highest, the Nibbana, the complete cessation of suffering, the total eradication of all forms of craving. He realized that there was none capable enough to teach him what he wanted, what he wished for, the highest truth. Then he took the permission and left the hermitage of Uddakanamput in search of Paramagyan, supreme knowledge. He reached the place called Urvela and started the practice of a strict asceticism. A group of 5 sages named Kondai, Vap, Badye, Mahanam and Asji also joined him. The ascetic Siddhartha made a superhuman struggle, practicing all forms of severest austerity. He kept reducing his meals. As a result, his delicate body was reduced to a living skeleton. He was almost on the verge of death, but he gained nothing. He was now fully convinced from personal experience of the utter futility of self mortification. He realized that enlightenment couldn't be gained with such an utterly exhausted body. So he decided to take some food to keep the body alive. Sujata, the daughter of a rich merchant, offered kheer payasa, milk rice, to Gautam Siddhartha. He felt alive as soon as the milk rice entered into his body. The 5 sages who were with him felt disappointed at this unexpected change in him and therefore they left him. Now, Bodhisattva Siddhartha sat alone under the peepal tree with the resolution that he would be there till perfect enlightenment. In this way, after 6 years of rigorous efforts, he attained the utmost knowledge at the age of 35. That knowledge is Panya, the wisdom. With acquiring Panya, he became free from suffering. Now, supreme happiness, supreme bliss was everywhere in his life. That highest order of happiness is Nibbana, where there is no suffering at all. He became free from the cycle of life and death. That was his last birth. The tree under which Gautam Siddhartha acquired the knowledge is known as the Bodhi tree. Urvela became Bodh Gaya. Gautam Siddhartha was now Gautam Buddha. The new era began. The era of the Buddha. The era of love, friendliness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. We will meet again in the next month with new episode. Bhavatu Sab Mangala.